Good afternoon. So today is the last day Lamrim class in 2018. So we have been studying Lamrim for many years, particularly 2018. I always mention you, all of you, very busy, even though you despite all the busyness, all the difficulties, still you try to attend my Lamrim class. Also you try to attend Dharma class from different masters in TBC. Also you attend Dharma class in other centers, which is very good because your energy, your time, at least you use in good for. Finally, all the learning, all the study Lamrim, study collective topic, study tenets, study Nalanda course, attend Dharma class in different centers. Finally, you really have to practice them. I always emphasize, if you don't practice, then all the study, all the knowledge of Dharma are going to cause to increase ego, attachment, anger, hatred. It is very unfortunate. Also from my side, I try my best in TBC, try to teach as much as I can. It's not easy to be a teacher, teaching Lamrim, particularly the wisdom chapter. Still, I am trying. I'm putting my best effort. Also from your side, even though, the teacher like me, I'm not that good teacher, which is explained perfectly, clearly, easily. But from your side, you must put enough effort, spend enough time with study of Dharma, practice of Dharma. Because doesn't matter, no matter what is your age, you are 30 or 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, or even though you are very young, but one day, without doubt, we have to leave this world. We have to leave our home. We have to leave our families. When we leave this world, moment of the time when we are separate our relatives, separating our belongings, and that moment is not easy because we have a very strong clinging towards our relatives, our dear one. Also we have a very strong clinging with our belongings. Due to the strong clinging, so we will have a lot of confusion, we will have a lot of negative thoughts. Then, we will take a rebirth in lower realms. So when we leave this world, also we had seen, our relatives, our friends, some have already left this world. When they left, we knew very clearly he or she could not take anything except the karmas. So we are same thing. When we leave this world, we cannot carry any material things except our karma, except our practices. if we able to bring a lot of positive virtuous actions, if we able to practice Dharma, then next lifetime, definitely we will have a happy life, we will have a healthy life, we won't have any, lot of difficulties. Therefore, it's so important to practice Dharma. So before we practice, we must learn how to practice the Dharma. So we have been practicing Dharma for many years. Now this is the time you yourself should investigate yourself. Are you a great practitioner? Are you like medium types of practitioner? You are like simple practitioner. Simple, medium or great practitioner. You must investigate. You must try to aware yourself. If you aware, definitely I will able to escape from samsara, able to escape from the root of the samsara, able to achieve liberation, Buddhahood, then you yourself consider I am a great practitioner, because in this lifetime I will able to escape from samsara, able to escape from the root of samsara, able to achieve liberation. That means you are yourself inclined to a great practitioner. Then next also you think, yeah, I cannot escape from samsara, I cannot achieve liberation, I cannot achieve Buddhahood. Then you check, are you scared about death? Are you scared about going to take a rebirth in lower realms? If you feel scared about taking a rebirth in lower realms, if you have a sense of scary about death, then you are not considered, even though, medium practitioner. If you don't have any sense of scared about death, about lower realms, you have a very strong confidence, conviction to take a rebirth in higher realms. Then you yourself consider, medium types of Buddhist practitioner. And also yeah, I'm not able to, I don't have a strong confidence, I don't have a strong conviction I will take a rebirth in the higher realms. If you have a sense of scary about lower realms, then you are considered, like very small types of practitioner. As well as you should think, if I die tonight or tomorrow, will you have a regret about your negative actions? Will you have a regret not able to practice Dharma? If you have a strong regret about negative karma, strong regret about not able to practice of Dharma, then you not really achieve anything through your practice of Dharma. Number one, should have a confidence, conviction, I can escape from samsara within this lifetime. Number two, you should not have any regret. You should not have a sense of scary about lower realms. Definitely you will able to take in the higher realms that you consider as a great practitioner. If you have very regret about your negative actions, very regret about not able to practice Dharma, that means you cannot, you haven't achieved anything to your Dharma. Therefore, somehow, later or sooner, we are going to die. When we die, we have to die alone. Even though you have a very holy guru, master, teacher. Also we believe in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. When we go through the death, when we die, we go alone. None of them able to come with us. Doesn't matter how much you like your relatives, your wife, your husband, your child, your things. When you leave this world, you have to leave everything behind you. So therefore, when you have a free time, please study Dharma, practice Dharma. At least should not have any sense of regret, sense of scary. Must have a strong confidence to able to take a rebirth in her realms, to able to achieve liberation and Buddhahood. Then how I must practice Dharma? Dharma, only there's two types. From the Four Noble Truth, the cessation and path to cessation are the Dharma. In order to achieve cessation, you have to go through the path. Generally, there are three types of paths. Small scope path, which is totally abandon the negative actions, 10 negative actions, to take refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Take a layperson vows or bhikshu vows. Then those are the path of the small being, small scope. If you practice the 10 virtuous action every day, take refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, then next life you'll be able to born, you will to take a rebirth in higher realms. As well as you need to maintain the precept which vow you have taken. Top of them, plus of them, then you need to practice renunciation in order to reduce sense of desire, attachment toward the samsaric things, the worldly things. Without renunciation, we not able to escape from samsara. Therefore, second, you really need to practice renunciation with the selflessness or emptiness. If you practice 10 virtuous actions, take refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, practice renunciation, selflessness or emptiness, then definitely you able to achieve liberation, or this life, or next life, or after next life. It depends on your effort, depend on your practice. Then top of them, that means practice 10 virtuous actions, taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, depth of your heart. Take the vows, practice renunciation, emptiness, plus bodhicitta. If you practice all of them every day, seriously, continuously, then you will achieve Buddhahood. Therefore, it depends on you. You want to be a small practitioner, medium, and great. If you wish to be great practitioner, if you wish to practice Bodhisattva path, then most importantly, bodhicitta. Bodhicitta can be generated if you are able to practice great compassion. Someday we feel I have a compassion, I have a great compassion. Yes, we have kind of great compassion, but all the great compassion, kindness, love, mixed with the attachment. So we try to have a very pure compassion and great compassion. If you have a great compassion, then you will able to accomplish bodhicitta, because bodhicitta is rooted by great compassion. In order to practice great compassion, then you must practice 4 immeasurable practices. Within the 4, first you practice equanimity. Look equal your dear one and your enemy or yourself, because everybody in equal to be happy, to achieve happiness, not wanting any suffering, wish to eliminate suffering. Your dear one, your enemy, or you, or in a simple, enemy, animals, we have a equal to be happy, equal to be successful, to be equal to be achieve happiness. That's why first you practice equanimity based on the Lamrim. If you are able to practice equanimity, you and your dear one and your enemy, then you are able to practice love, pure compassion. So, how we can generate renunciation? First, you need to contemplate the good consequence of renunciation, the negative consequence of not practicing renunciation. If you are able to practice the 2 result of renunciation, result of the not practice of renunciation, then slowly you can have sense of strong wishing, strong desire to generate renunciation. In order to generate renunciation, you need to meditate on sufferings, many types of sufferings, suffering in the hell being, hungry ghosts, animal realms, human, ghost realm. Finally, you must have a sense of renounce with the physical body, the truth of suffering. As well as you must recognize what is the root, what is the cause of the samsara and suffering. That means you need to practice the first 2 truth of suffering, origin of suffering. And also you must know, the relationship between truth of suffering and origin of sufferings. When you fully understood the relationship between origin of suffering and suffering, that you must know, in order to eliminate suffering, I must eliminate the origin of sufferings, which is karma and 3 poison mind. Within that, if you are able to control attachment, anger, ignorance, then you are not going to accumulate any new negative karma. Then you are able to stop to have new negative karma, as well as you are able to purify all the negative karma you have accumulated in the past. In order to control attachment and desire, then we really need to control, we really need to know the nature of ignorance. Because we have ignorance as a foundation, then we have attachment. Due to the ignorance and attachment, then we have a sense of anger. Not only that, due to the ignorance, then we have a forgetfulness, we have a destruction minds. All the afflict emotions, all the negative karmas arise based on ignorance, as well as the contaminated positive karma also arise based on ignorance. The root is the ignorance. Therefore, we need to know the nature of ignorance. In order to know the nature of the ignorance, we need to know emptiness. So, there's a numberless of emptiness, because there's a numberless, countless of phenomena. We cannot count how many emptiness are there. then that's easy way. We must say there's two types of emptiness. Emptiness of the phenomena, emptiness of the self. That means, the external phenomena and you, as well as you and your five aggregates. Then, in order to know the ignorance, first you need to recognize, you need to realize where's I, how the I exists. As well as you must realize how the phenomena exists. It is not easy to recognize I. It is not easy to recognize self. Therefore, in our last class, we have studied about two types of ignorance. Ignorance of phenomena, ignorance of I. As well as two types of emptiness. Emptiness of the phenomena, emptiness of the self. So how we can enter into emptiness? First, you try to understand, try to realize emptiness of I, emptiness of self. Once you realize emptiness of I or self, the second you will realize emptiness of the phenomena, emptiness of the five aggregates. If you just only realize emptiness of self, not the emptiness of the five aggregates, then still there's a good chance to arise attachment, desire, anger, rest of the emotions. In order to completely stop all the afflicted emotions, you need to realize the both emptiness, self, and the basis of self, which is five aggregates. Okay, that means every day you must go practice like this. Now we study about how we can realize emptiness. I think page number I think the page number 1, 2, 3, all of them you must read very carefully. Page number 126 or 126, yeah. Identifying the object to be negated by reason. That means it is so important, the phenomena, then the object of negation of the phenomena. The easy example, just say, everybody has a book. The book is impermanent. In order to realize the book is impermanent, you need to negate the permanent book. The permanent book, you can consider, you can think the permanent book is not exist, but the permanent book is the object of negation of impermanence of the books. That means in order to realize impermanence of the book, you must recognize the negation of the object of negation of the impermanence of the book. Right? Therefore, identify the object to be negated by reason. How we negate? We can negate, rely on reason and logics. In order to negate the negation, we really need to identify what is the object of the negated. What is the object of negation? Right? Number one, why the object of negation must be carefully identified. Why we need to recognize, why we need to identify the object of negation. Not only identify, we must identify with very careful. Right? why the object of negation must be carefully identified. It's so important to, identify very carefully. If you don't, identify very carefully, then there will be lot of problems, lot of mistakes, lot of dangers. For example, you are, police officers. You are a policeman or police officer. Somehow you got information, or there's a very dangerous, like a person or dangerous thief. Then, so before you go to catch the thief, you must know what the person is look like. Maybe somebody send you picture. After you receive the picture, you look very carefully. If you look very roughly, go with a rough idea, then you will catch the wrong person. The wrong person. If you catch the wrong person bring you in the court. It's so important to recognize very, very carefully, identify. Then, so what's the problem if we thought, identify, if we try to negate the negation, refuting other systems that refute without identifying the object to be negated? There's a lot of problems. How our system identify the object of negation? Our system refer to the Madhyamaka, the Pasangika. Why the object of negation must be carefully identified? That means there's a negation object. That means in order to realize emptiness of the phenomena, we need to negate. We need to negate the object of negation. In order to reject the object of negation, we need to identify the object of negation. In order to be sure that a certain person is not present, you must know the absent person. Right? Before you say he or she is absent, before you say, you must know, you must recognize the person. Then you can say he or she is absent. Likewise, in order to be certain of the meaning of selflessness, right? Very important. In order to be certain of meaning of selflessness or lack of intrinsic existence, that means according to the Pasangika school, selflessness, the lack of intrinsic existence, ultimate truth, those are synonymous. There's no such as one is gross, one is subtle. It's exactly same meaning. Selflessness, the lack of intrinsic existence. You must carefully identify the self or intrinsic nature. Self is kind of the negation, object of negation. Intrinsic nature, also object of negation. True. They do not exist, for if you do not have a clear concept of object to be negated, right? If you don't have a clear concept, that means you must have a concept. What does mean object of negation? Not only have idea, you must have a clear, accurate idea, accurate concept of object to be negated. You will also not have accurate knowledge of its negation. Then problem, look at Shantideva said. That means, knowledge of its negation. So before you negate something, you must have knowledge. What does mean negation? What it is look like? Look at Shanti Deva said, without contacting the entity that is imputed, mean the negation, you will not apprehend the absence of entity. So in order to apprehend the absence of the entity, you must identify the imputed, mean the negation. There's a limitless diversity among objects of negation. Right? There are so many different types of negation. Also, there are so many negations because there are so many phenomena. Therefore, look at, there is a limitless diversity among objects of negation, but they came together. All the negation and all the object of negation, they came together at the root. That means you don't need to negate the object of negation of the pot, pen, pencil. No, you don't have to go one by one. All object of negation come at the root. That means you must negate the object of negation of the person, object of negation of the phenomena. When you refute this, when you refute the object of negation, you refute all object of negation, right? That means when you are able to refute the root of the object of negation, then you are able to refute all object of negation. All object of negation. Moreover, if you leave, very important this sentence, moreover, if you leave some remainder falling to refute the deepest and most subtle cause of the object of negation, then you will fall into extreme of true existence. Right? That means, so you are really need to look in the middle. You need to negate the negation as well as you need to pause it. You need to recognize the phenomena. Right? That means you are looking very, very subtle paths. If your body is not balanced, if you lost balance this way, then you will fall this way. If you lose your balance other way, you fall into other way. That's why you need a perfect concept of negation. Without having perfect, clear concept of negation, you will have two problems. Look at. Moreover, if you leave some remainder, so you try to negate the negation, right? You try to negate the negation, but you cannot negate completely. Still something there, remains something there, then you're going to fall into where? Extreme of true existence. That means it's very subtle. For example, somebody asks you to, clear a pot which is used to keep garlic. So you have to clear the pot very carefully, right? Otherwise, if you not clean completely, some smell there. When you try to negate the negation, if you're not able to negate completely, something still there, still you are fall into another continuously fall into one extreme existence of the truth, right? You look at, fall to refute the deepest and most subtle core of the object of negation, then you will fall to an extreme of true existence. One extreme. Second, then what's problem? If you're not able to completely negate the negation, then you will cling to the idea of real things, whereby you will not be able to escape cyclic existence. Right? That means, look at, so first, everybody commonly think, oh, the object is so perfect. Everybody commonly think, truly believe, oh, this object is very complete, very perfect, right? Perfect. Then what we have? We have a very strong desire. We have a very strong attachment. We have a very strong cling there. Then somebody explain us, for you, the object is very perfect, but is not really perfect. That the person introduce us, explain the object is not that complete, which is you thought. Then the person tell us all the problems, all the faulty. Then slowly we think, yes, the object is not perfect. But we say no perfect. Still, if you think they're little bit perfect, something they are perfect, still you thinking it is not perfect as I thought before. But still you think it's perfect. It's nice. It's not nice that which is I thought before. If you think nice, still you have an attachment, desire, clinging. That's why just based on an object, which object doesn't matter. Based on object, you try to negate the negation. You must negate from the root completely. Then you're able to escape from samsara. Otherwise you cannot, because attachment arises, anger arises, hatred arises, because they be clinging something there in the real sense. Right? If you fall, refute, then you will not able to escape self-resistance. If you fall to limit the object of negation and overextend your refutation, that means the previous one not able to negate completely. The second is negate overly, negate too much. Then what happened? Then you will lose the confidence in the causal progression of the dependent arising, thereby falling to nihilistic esteem. This nihilistic view will lead you to rebirth in the miserable realms. Therefore, it is crucial, it is very, very important to identify the object of negation carefully. For if it is not identified, you will certainly develop either a nihilistic view or eternalistic view. Okay, it's so important, right? Now everybody just think, I want to realize emptiness of the person. Okay, we everybody commonly study together. I want to realize emptiness of me, emptiness of me, emptiness of I, emptiness of self, right? Which just think. Then you think, yes, I am exist, but not exist inherently, not exist independently, right? That means the independent existence, inherent existence, we need to negate. How? Then you just think, yeah, I am exist. Then where are you exist? How you exist? Then you just go, part by part. My hands are not me. My legs are not me. My brain, my heart, my lungs, my kidney, all of them, any parts of body is not me. Then we totally separate me and my body, right? All parts of body is not me. Then body is not me. Then second, your thoughts, your minds, your compassion, kindness, tolerance, all of them is not you, right? Not you. Those are your possess. Then, if you think this way, finally you think, even though I'm not exist, right? You think I'm not exist. When you try to negate the object of negation, then at the same time you will negate the phenomena, or you're not able to negate the negation of the object. This means there's always two problems, two extremes. Make sure when you try to negate the negation, you should not negate too much. Right? Too much. When you try to posit, try to recognize the phenomena, and if you think something exists independently, something exists from the object side, then still the negation still remain there. Then again, all the afflictive emotion arise. That means you need to know how to negate the negation, as well as you must know how to posit, how to recognize the real object, the phenomena. For example, books, right? Yeah, everybody commonly going to agree this is a book. Then we say the book exists, not the independent book exists. You need to negate what? Independent book. Inherent book. When you negate the independent book, then also you are negating the books. Then you fall into one extreme. Then you thought, no. The book must be there. Then how? Then you try to, identify the book. Then, all parts of notebook, but we feel something there. Right? That's another problem. Therefore, before you negate the negation, you must know what does mean negation, how the negation is look like. Then the negation you need to negate based on I, self, based on the phenomena. If you're not able to completely negate, then negation, some little, very subtle types of negation still remain there. Due to that, all afflictive emotion arise. Also, you think it is no good, I must negate the negation. If you negate too much, you negate the negation as well as you negate the real phenomena. You try to negate the negation of the book, at the same time you negate the book. Problem, right? And you try to posit, you try to prove the book exists. When you try to prove the books exist, at the same time you try to prove the independent book. Then there's a problem. Okay, so that's why it's so important to recognize. Now there's two problems. If you leave some remainder means if you leave some kind of negation of any object, then you're falling to refute. That means you're not able to refute the deepest and subtle cause of object of negation. Then what problem? Then you will fall to extreme of true existence. Then you cannot realize emptiness. You are not able to remain on the middle path. Then another problem, look at, if you fall to limit the object of negation and overextend your refutation, then you will lose confidence, the causal progression. If you negate too much, then you don't have a sense of confidence about law of causality and karma, dependent arising. Then you will have a nihilistic extreme. It leads to rebirth in the miserable realms. Right? If you feel there's no law of causality, there's no karma, there's no next life, there's no Buddha, then you become very extreme. then you will do so many bad things. Thus, it lead you to revert into miserable realms. Okay, that means this is the statement by Lama Tsongkhapa. Why so important to recognize the negation, object of negation. If you're not able to identify the object of negation, then you will have two serious problems. What will happen if I have two problems? Then number one, you're not able to realize emptiness because your fail to reject the object of negation. Second problems, that you lost the confidence, you lost the belief in low causal progression. You have two problems. Therefore, you must identify the object to be negated by reason very carefully. Now, number 1 and 2, refuting other system that refute without identify the object to be negated. Therefore, in India, ancient time, as well as in Tibet, many masters says you no need to identify the object of negation. You just negate. Then there's a problem. It has two parts. What's the number 1? Negate it. Number 2. Yeah, that means somebody, when they try to negate the negation, they negate everything. Everything. That's why I say overly broad identification, right? They're refuting what? They're refuting overly broad identification. That means they use certain reason logic. Due to the logics and reasoning, they totally negate nothing exists. Nothing exists. One group. The second group, they not really negate all the phenomena, but overly restricted identification of the object to be negated. That means they negate certain object, not all objects. The first group totally negate everything. Now look at how they negate. Refuting an overly broad identification of the object to be negated, there's two parts. Starting other assertion, the first group is not, they are not like, crazy, they are not stupid. They really refute all, they totally negate all object with a lot of reasoning, lot of logics. Look at, starting other assertions. Number 2, what number 2? Station are wrong, right? They are wrong. That means there's a 2. First, how they start their assertion. Number 2, their assertions are wrong. Now, how you start? Right? They say nothing exists. There's no human being, no sentient being, no Buddha, nothing. They totally negate everything. No karma, law, nothing. Now, how is come? Look at most of those who today refer to the Lama Tsongkhapa time. Lama Tsongkhapa time. Most of those who today claim to teach the meaning of Madhyamaka says that all phenomena ranging from form through omniscient consciousness are refuted by rational analysis of whether productions and exist as their own reality. Right? That means at that time, at Lama Tsongkhapa time, there are so many masters. They teach, what teach? They teach meaning of Madhyamaka, meaning of emptiness. When they teach, what they say that what? All phenomena ranging from forms through omniscient consciousness are refuted. Analysis of what production and such as exists as their own reality. Right? They say, it's so important, the words here, ranging from forms through omniscience. Right? There's a totally 108 numbers from form to omniscient. From form, we have 5 aggregates, right? Within the 5, number 1, form. Then all the way from form interlinked to so and so. Totally, there's a 108 number. The last one, omniscient. That means totally from Tibetan say from Zug ne Namchen par. Zug means forms. Namchen means omniscient. It's totally, from in Singapore, what's the top of the Singapore? Top and bottom. Huh?
The top is
No, Sikaya, or woodland to?
Marina Bay.
Okay, say, woodland to Marina Bay include everything in between. Right, there's a form to omniscient. Everything, right? All phenomena ranging from forms through omniscient consciousness are refuted. Who did refute? Those master. That time, the Lama Tsongkhapa times. Refute. They didn't say, we don't accept. They didn't say we don't believe all phenomena exist. They refute it, by rational analysis of whether productions do you remember synonymous? Product, impermanence, condition phenomena, right? This means production and such as exists as their own reality. From when reason analysis, anything that is put forward, there's not even the particle that can withstand analysis. Also, all 4 possible way that something could be produced as unexistent effort, non-existent effort, and so forth are refuted. And there is nothing that is not included in these 4. That's why number 1, they look at. What is this? This is a book, right? Then I say, what is this? This is a cover. Then, what is this? Page number 1. Is page number 1 is book? No. The cover is no. They, separate page by page, half, reach to the half. Is a book? No. Is book? No. When you apart, one by one, then it look like book is not exist. Now your body is not you. Your head, not you. Are you exist? Yes, I exist. Which one you? If you do this kind of study, investigation, analysis, then you think, I'm also not exist. Then slowly, same logics, same idea they use for all phenomena. They thought nothing exists. That's why they call everything is in delusion. Delusion, right? Not only that, the 4 possible way that something could be produced. Then the production, produce. When you say production, the production must be produced. Right? Produce. Produced by self, produced by other, produced by both, produced by causeless. Number 1, production cannot be produced itself. Right? You cannot fight yourself. Can you fight yourself? Can you fight yourself? You cannot. you can fight with others. Right? That means there's a 4 possibility, produced by self, produced by other, produced by both self and others, produced by causeless. That means this book is not produced by itself. This book is not produced by other. Because no self, then how the other can be exist? And this book is not produced by both self and other. As well as this book is not produced by causeless. Right? So they think if we use this kind of technique, then therefore they proved nothing exists from the form to the omniscient. Number 1. That reason number 1. Reason number 2. Moreover, this person assert. That means the person who negate all the phenomena. This person assert, say, claim that a noble beings, right? Noble being referred to the Arya, very important, Arya. Number 1, ordinary being. Then number 2, you become Arya. Number 3, you become Arhat, right? That means noble being. Because, do you know why we call 4 truths? 4 truths. Also we ate 4 noble truths. Okay? 4 noble truths. That means noble being referred to the Arya, who able to see emptiness, selflessness, direct perception. Right? Noble beings, sublime wisdom. That means there's a noble being, he or she has a wisdom. The wisdom which perceives reality. Right? That means the Arha among the sentient beings, the Arha is the best person who know the truth, who know the reality, who perceives reality, perceives production, number 1. Number 2, cessation. Number 3, bondage. Number 4, freedom. And so forth, no exists in the list. Therefore, since things must be just as this sublime wisdom knows them, production and such do not exist. Look at that means, let's say the Arya, through lot of practice, many years, lot of practices, finally the Arya realize what? Realize emptiness through direct mind, direct perception. That means when the being, noble being perceives the reality, emptiness, what he can see, he or can she see? He or she can see only emptiness. Emptiness. The Arhat cannot see other than the emptiness. Right? Emptiness. That means we must, he's saying, the person says, we must follow what Arya had seen. He had seen only emptiness, not rest of the any phenomena, any conventional truth. Right? Truth. So, here I give you a very short kind of, explanation, this thing. Can you, I think most of you don't eat tsamba, right? Tsamba. The barley powder. Yeah. The roasted barley powder, right? So in Tibet, is very common food, very important food. Everybody eats tsamba. Tsamba is powder. Let's say while you eating tsamba powder, you cannot play flute. Can you? Cannot. When you play flute, you cannot eat champa. When you drink water, can you play flute? No, because water put in, flute, the blow out. You cannot think, you cannot play two things: drinking water, play flute; eating champa, play flute. Cannot. Same thing as our ordinary beings. Or even though Buddha, until become Buddha, you cannot. You don't have an ability to see the two truths simultaneously. Cannot. When you realize emptiness directly, when you are able to see emptiness, you are seeing only emptiness, not the conventional truth. When you see the conventional truth, you cannot see the ultimate truth. Most importantly, the arhat, for example, let's say, accumulation path, second, preparation path, third, seeing path. Within the preparation, how many levels? 4 levels. What are they? Hit, pick, right? I said P, no P-I-G, huh? P-I-K, right? P-K, no pick, huh? Hit, then pick. Number 3, forbearance. Number 4, worldly superior. Look at, very important. Say heat. Heat means like warm, right? So when you cook, first we need to make a fire. Just after you make a fire, the pot cannot become so hot. It takes time to heat. That means first you realize emptiness. Then you meditate on emptiness quite, long time. Then slowly you got a energy, you got a, kind of ability to see the emptiness directly. Haven't seen yet, you got the ability. That means heat. Then number 2, pick. Right, pick. Pick means after you meditate emptiness for a long time, then your experience reach to the top level of the samsaric being. Your experience reach to the top level of the samsaric being. Third one we call forbearance, or you can say patience. Because for us, we don't have any experience of emptiness. When you really try to have experience, then you really have a sense of scare. Because when you try to negate the negation, you are negating everything. Then you feel scared. Oh, nothing exists, then I'm not exist, right? Then you feel scared. Then when you try to pause it, when you try to recognize I exist, at the same time, you recognize the independent you. And also you feel scared because you're not able to escape from samsara. You have a lot of dilemma, you have a sense of scared. Third level, when you reach to third level, you don't have any sense of scary about emptiness. Then the last one, Checho means the superior of the dharma kind of things. That means the next minute you are ready to realize emptiness directly. Then when you see emptiness directly, what you reach? You reach to the seeing path. That moment when you reach to the seeing path, you are seeing only, you are realizing what? Only emptiness. Emptiness. You cannot see anything else. For example, when you are young, you have a very, I think everybody has a very favorite music. You really like, when you are young, you really like the music. Then after 30 years, 40 years, let's say you went to Indian village. Then slowly you hear the music which you really like when you are young, right? You heard. You will be very surprised. And that moment, you cannot hear anything. You cannot see anything. What you can hear? Only the music. You can hear only music. You cannot see anything because your senses are totally dissolved into one direction. Right? This means, so when you reach the seeing path, you have to reach to seeing path through meditation. When you see emptiness directly, that time you are seeing only emptiness, not any other phenomena. That means, look at, he's saying, the noble being, sublime wisdom which perceives reality, perceive production, cessation, bondage, freedom, and so forth as not existing in the list. Therefore, that's why I say, if the conventional phenomena exists, then the noble being's wisdom must perceive. The noble being's wisdom cannot perceive the production so and so. How you can say they exist? This is the reason. If not, then how it is possible for something that has been, the next one. Therefore, since things must be just as things sublime wisdom know them, production and such as do not exist. That means everything must be there if the noble being can perceive. If the noble being cannot perceive, then the things no more exist. Reason number 2, right? Reason number 3. When we assert the production and such as do not exist, this person asks, right? Now let's say we say productions and exist. Impermanence exists. Then they ask a question. These persons ask, are these capable of withstanding rational analysis of their reality? Do you know the meaning of withstanding? That means you use the rational analysis. When you apply the rational analysis, if the things able to stand, still you can see still there, then you can say the phenomenon exists. Then again look at the book. We can say the book exists. Again, when you do the analysis, you can see the book cannot stand. No more there. Right? No more there. Therefore he is saying, look at, are they capable of withstanding rational analysis of their reality? If so, even though you can say those things are withstanding rational analysis of their reality, if so, then there would be things that can withstand rational analysis, and thus there would be truly existent things. If not, then how is it possible for something that has been rational refuted to exist? If this book withstanding rational analysis, that means the book must be exist what? How? Exist truly. Must be truly existent things. If not, then how it is possible for something that has been rational refuted to exist? That means everything able to refute through rational analysis. Right? Then similar, when we hold the production and such as exists, this person asks a question. Does valid cognition, right? That means if the productions, conventional phenomena exist, does valid cognition establish them or not? Establish or not? Establish them? If we claim that it does, right? Yes, this book is able to establish by valid cognition, then they reply that since the sublime wisdom perceives the reality, perceives production and production as non-existent, it is impossible for that wisdom to establish production. That means, look at, if the book is able to establish by what? The valid cognition, then This book must be established by the noble being, right? Perceive the body. They reply that since the sublime wisdom perceiving the reality, perceive production as not existent. That means this book is not perceived by the noble being's sublime wisdom. How you can say the book is established by the valid, cognizer? How? Impossible for the wisdom to establish production, because the sublime wisdom cannot establish this book, because the noble beings sublime wisdom cannot perceive this book. They cannot perceive the production. Further, if we argue the production is established by conventional visual consciousness, then we can say yes, this book is not established by the Arya's sublime wisdom, but it is established by conventional what? Visual consciousness, like five senses. We can say, yeah, this book exists because it's established by eyes consciousness. The sound exists because established by the air consciousness, right? Then there's a problem according to the person. Look at, if we argue the production is established by conventional visual consciousness, and such as they reply that it is impossible for the such a conventional consciousness to be valid cognition that established production, because scriptural sources refute the claim that the conventional consciousness are valid cognition. They say yes, if you say these books, all the ultimate truth established by the visual consciousness, then we have to say, the visual consciousness must be the valid. No, because look at that established production, because scripture, all the books and teaching sources refute what? Refute the claim that those conventional consciousness are valid cognition. They are not valid. You should not trust, you cannot believe those consciousness. Then look at, the Buddha says, the king of the concentration sutra says, the eyes, ear and nose consciousness are not valid cognition. The tongue, body and mental consciousness are also not valid cognition. If this sensory consciousness were valid cognition, of what use to anyone would the noble being's path be? Right? Then we are saying, if you say the conventional phenomena established by our visual senses, if you believe our visual senses is the valid cognition, then it's again with the Buddha teaching, saying by those person. There's a lot of reason, right? I told you at the beginning, you should not think they are stupid, you should not think they are crazy, everything, reject everything. They have a lot of reasoning. And also, last, I think 2 days, there was one of the biggest, conference about one of the Lama Tsongkhapa teaching in Bodh Gaya, presence of, His Holiness Lama. There were many Geshe from Gelugpa, Khenpo, Lobun, like a Geshe Ma, female Geshe, also lay person, scholar. Very big conference, one of the, because the biggest conference, never happened before. Then the first, in the morning season, there's a lot of Gelugpa Geshe explain about emptiness. Then also Nyingmaba Khenpo explain, how things are exist. According to, his point of view, he said, when you become a Buddha, you can see only emptiness, ultimate truth. You cannot see other conventional truth. Because all the conventional truth established by thoughts and language. Thoughts. When you become Buddha, you don't have any more thoughts, but you have a consciousness, but no thoughts. How you can perceive the conventional truth, right? It's not as as an ordinary being we can, because when you study for us look quite easy. When you really go through the experience, it not easy at all. Therefore, Lama Tsongkhapa said, for you easy to reject, the ultimate or the true existence. For you, very easy to reject, the independent nature. Easy to reject, easy to deny. Not easy to establish all phenomena merely, designated by name and thoughts. You can reject. You can use all the logic. You can reject the object of negation. When you reject, you must establish that phenomena exists. That means you must reject independence I, independence self is no exists, but you must establish I still exists. He said, this is one of the most difficult concept in the Madhyamaka school. That means when you negate the object of negation, you are negating the phenomena. When you establish the phenomena, as well you are establishing the negation. Right? That means after you negate the negation, you must know how to establish, how to posit. Do you know the meaning posit? How you can say recognize? Posit mean? Establish. Very funny thing, huh? What does mean establish? Posit. What does mean posit? Establish. I tell you very nice story, right? When somebody asks you why the book is impermanence, you say it is conditioned phenomena. Why it is a conditioned phenomena? You should not say again it is impermanence. Why impermanent? Again, conditioned phenomena. No. That's why there was a person, I think, who went to war. He came back to the base camp, army camp. Then somehow he didn't have his gun. The officers asked, where's your gun? Oh, I forgot my gun where I pee. Where I pee. Oh, where did you pee? I pee where I forgot my gun. He said, just go around. Right? That means, in the English term, what does mean posit? Establish. What does mean establish? Posit. Where you lost your gun, where you pee. Where you pee, where I lost the gun. Right? Establish. It's not easy, Lama Tsongkhapa say. It's one of the most of the difficulty, concept in Madhyamaka. That's why you can see the rest of the, three school include to not Pasangika. What's the next one? Pasangika. Swatantika. Except the Pasangika, rest of the proponent who follow those schools, they are totally fall into extreme. They cannot, realize emptiness. They're not able to posit, not able to establish that real existing phenomena. Yeah, the real existence, how things are really there. For example, when you wear glass, right? One is yellow, one is red. When you look at the phenomena, if you use this one, you can see red. This is yellow, right? But you have to see in the middle, right? Okay. It's not easy. Therefore, there is use all the reason, all the teaching from Buddha. Look at, if the sensory consciousness were the valid cognition, or what use to any would the noble being paths. Also Chandrakirti, also the person quoted the commentary on the middle way says, the world is not valid in any way. They argue that we cannot say that the production exists without valid establishment. For ourselves do not accept this, and it is not reasonable. And look at also Chandrakirti said like this. Not only that, they also argue that if we are to assert production, since it cannot be asserted ultimately in Madhyamaka, we will have to assert the conventionally, but that is unreasonable because Chandrakirti commentary on the middle way says, the argument will show that the production from ipses from other are unenterable in the context of ultimate reality. Right? That means he put all the logics, reasoning, quotation. He tried to prove only emptiness exists. Rest of the phenomena is just delusion, illusion for us. Nothing exists anymore. Then next one. Thus they said the argument refuting ultimate production also refute the conventional productions. Okay, so before we go next one, does anybody has any question? Mini question or no question?
I think we all don't. I don't understand. Don't understand. So maybe we can maybe don't mind you ask those who don't understand. Then put out the hand.
Who don't understand? Who understood? Okay, no problem. We will have when I come back, we go few time, repetition. Then you will have a better understanding. I know first time you don't understand anything. Even though you thought I understood, but you are still mistaking. Okay, no problem. So you can read in all the pages, sentence by sentence. Yes, the few different paragraph. That's why it is really a difficult subject matter. The subject matter is very difficult. Therefore, before Lama Tsongkhapa, there's a Lamrim from Nyingma, Lamrim from Kagyuba, Lamrim from Sagya, even though Lamrim by Atisha. Until the wisdom chapter, there are a lot of explanation. When they reach to the wisdom chapter, they have a very little explanation. Because it's so difficult. Because the master thought, I can explain, but the disciple don't understand anything. That's why they didn't, really, spend a lot of time to explain emptiness. Therefore, you can see, we have a Vajrayana teaching, we have a Sudarayana teaching. Why Buddha Shakyamuni selective, the selective students? Because the Four Noble Truths, 12 interdependence, all the, the common meditation on the four object, right? Form, feeling, phenomena, consciousness, is commonly understood because those is very common. That's why the first teaching, most of the first teaching, Buddha Shakyamuni gave commonly. Second time, when he give the Prajnana Paramita teaching, Hasutara so and so, then he selected, the student who are very advanced, who are very, brave, who has a good, sharp mind. Then he selected all those disciples. Then he explained emptiness. And that you can say different, we can say Pali language and Sanskrit language, and Pali tradition, Sanskrit tradition, because Pali language was the common language. Everybody, can understand that time in India, particularly, the northern part of India, Bihar, UP. Now you can go Bihar, UP, so and so. It's a common, public language. So Buddha gave the Four Noble Truths, the common teaching in, common language. Second time or third time, when he gave a teaching about Parayana Paramita teaching, Vajrayana teaching, he gave all the teaching in Sanskrit language. Sanskrit, because Sanskrit language is very profound, it's a very rich language. He can have all the terms in Sanskrit. If he teach, explain the Vajrayana teaching, emptiness teaching based on Pali language, the Pali language is not enough to interpret about emptiness, about all the Vajrayana teaching. That's why we have a, Pali language, Pali tradition and Sanskrit tradition. When he gave a teachings, Parayana Paramita, he selected students. Particularly when he gave a teaching, Vajrayana teaching, he selected very few students, and he gave the teaching very secretly. Select particular student and teach very secretly. Why we have to select? Because he makes sure the student will understand. Not will understand, make sure the student able to practice. Why he gives this teaching very secretly, hiddenly? This teaching is go in common people. Common people have a lot of wrong views, a lot of misunderstanding. Right? Therefore, generally, the emptiness, the topic of emptiness is not easy. That's why after become a Buddha, he became Buddha based on practice of emptiness and bodhicitta. So that means he have a very fresh experience of emptiness. He knows emptiness is so important. Most of the important teaching he can teach. Most of the useful teaching he knows. I don't think anybody going to understand the emptiness. That's why, he didn't give teaching how many days? 45 or 49 days. He didn't give a teaching, he just remained in the forest. He wasn't sure he should give teaching, he should not. Because he knows among the teaching, emptiness is so important. If they know emptiness, then they're able to escape from samsara, they're able to achieve Buddhahood. If they don't understand emptiness, not able to escape samsara, not able to achieve Buddhahood or liberation. That's why he remained silently for 49 days. Then, he got a lot of requests. Then, finally, he gave a teaching Varanasi. But he didn't give teaching just that emptiness. Four Noble Truths. Within the Four Noble Truths, truth of suffering. With the truth of suffering, first, impermanence. Second, suffering. Third, selflessness or emptiness. There's an order. First, let them, digest the meaning of impermanence. Second, let them realize truth of suffering. Third, let them realize the origin of suffering, which is ignorance. Must overcome from ignorance. Let them study about selflessness. Then emptiness. He gradually brings students step by step. Right? Therefore, I know some of you will go to give up going to attend the Lamrim class. If you continue to attend, good for you. No good for me. Huh? So, yeah, it's very difficult. But still, you put effort. And also, I told many times, right, when we do, chanting, prayers, offering, prostration, sometimes you particularly do, chanting and pray and making offering, light, incense, fruits, giving, something to who needs it. That you just particularly you just think, I'm doing all this practice in order to realize emptiness, in order to, clear all the obstacle. Therefore, do you remember Lama Tsongkhapa had great difficulties to understand emptiness. He tried many times. He could not. Then he asked, to whom? Manjushri. I have difficulties to realize emptiness. What should I do? The answer was, you must practice unanly, which is purification, accumulation. You try to purify the negative karma as well as try to accumulate merit. When you purify negative karma, you have a less obstacle. When you try to accumulate merit, you got great energy to realize emptiness. Right? Therefore, yes, I know it's a very difficult topic, not easy. When you say, I don't understand, you include you, everybody, that means, number one, I don't think, you really read these pages. Right? That's why you must read, sentence by sentence. You should not be in hurry. Then try to digest the meaning of emptiness. Right? Therefore, you can see there's a few reasons. Number one, how they started to negate all the conventional phenomena. Right? Then there's a paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of them, the reasoning and logics to prove the conventional truth is not exist anymore. Now we go in page number 1 to 9. Right? B. What is the B? Wrong. Look at showing that those assertions. There's a few assertions. Those are totally wrong. This has two parts, showing that those systems contradict with the what? Feature of Madhyamaka. That means, showing that those systems who totally reject the conventional truth, those are totally contradict the unique feature of Madhyamaka. What's the number 2? Do you understand the meaning? Right? Yes, if you say, the conventional phenomena not exist, right? That means you are totally contradict. That means you are totally reject. You are rejecting the unique, feature of the Madhyamaka school. Madhyamaka school, right? Now you can see how they totally contradict. It has 3 parts. What are the 3 parts? Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Okay. That means identify the distinguishing feature of the Madhyamaka. Now look at A. Identify the distinguishing feature of the Madhyamaka, Nagarjuna. The stanza. Please read everybody together. Wisdom. Right, now you can see he's mentioned few things very important. Through these virtues, may all beings. They're talking about virtues. Second, he talk about all beings. Then collections of merits. How many types of merit? 2 types of merit, which is merit and wisdom. That means, virtues, all sentient beings, 2 types of merits. The next one, attain what? Attain the true sublime body man. This arises from merit and wisdom. So important now, in the reality, there's a two truths. One is the conventional truth. Second is ultimate truth. Is there? It's not convented by Buddha. In reality, there's a conventional truth which is we can see, we can experience, right? There's another phenomenon is totally beyond from our perception, which is ultimate truth. In the reality, there are two truths, right? Then there's a two practices of wisdom, practice of methods. When you realize ultimate truth, the reality, that means you are trying to accumulating the wisdom merit. Two types of merit. Based on conventional truth. That means there's a conventional truth as well as there are sentient beings. When you think about sentient beings, when you think about human beings, we have so many problems, we have so many sufferings. When you see people are suffered, when you see human or sentient beings are totally suffered, you can have what? You can have a compassion, you have a sympathy, you have a love. Based on practice of love and compassion, then you are able to practice bodhicitta. Then you are able to practice, you are able to accumulate the methods merit, wisdom and methods. That means truth is there, therefore there's a two practices. There's a two practices, there are two achievements. What are the two achievements? Dharmakaya, Rupakaya and Dharmakaya. Rupakaya, Dharmakaya. Okay? Rupakaya means, the body. Dharmakaya has a two. The path and path to cessation. When you fully become enlightened being, then you have the mind totally free from every emotions, right? That means you got the cessation. The cessation you can achieve through practice of the path. That means two truths, two types of practice, two types of merit. Therefore, there are two types of achievement, right? Therefore, you can see if you deny, if you negate all conventional phenomena, you need to negate sentient beings. You need to negate wisdom and methods. Then you need to negate the Rupakaya and Dharmakaya. That means you totally reject the unique feature of Madhyamaka. Okay? So today we can stop here. So actually it is very good sign. So it is kind of end of the 2018. Going to have a 2019 very soon. So we reach to the wisdom chapter. So it's a good sign. Please everybody, read more about the negation, how to negate, how to identify. Then next we start the lessons from dependent arising and emptiness. So before we start this chapter, we should have a revision class. Okay? So I will stop here today. Then, so I think everybody has very excited about New Year. Also somebody has a very kind of worry about New Year because you think I'm going to lose my job. Somehow, we should not be too excited about New Year. Nothing special happened in our life. Also, we should not have too much worry. Also, you won't have very serious thing happen in your life. Therefore, it is so important to keep your mind in balance. Something good happen, should not be too excited. Some bad thing happen, should not be too upset. I'm not saying you should not be upset. If you don't upset, then you really don't know how to practice Dharma. Should not be too upset, because everything is impermanence. Today some good thing happens, it will change. Today we have some bad thing happen, it will change. Right? Do you remember one of the Indian king asked one of the sadhu, one of the practitioner, you give me one word. You just teach us one word, which is make us happy, makes us unhappy. Just one word. Right? Do you remember? He said, you just teach us one word, which is make us happy as well as make us unhappy. Do you remember the word? The word. The words. Do you remember? Yeah, words. Do you remember? Yeah, these two shall pass. He said, that means everything will change, everything will pass. That means if you're too excited, oh, I know it's going to change. If you're too, upset, also, this shall pass. Always think this way. Then have a happy Christmas and happy New Year. Then we will see after 10 days. Okay?